requires a 5-minute recess. So it is now 2:54 p.m. Central Standard Time. We will come back at 2:59 p.m. Central Standard Time. The body will stand at ease.
And please remember, if someone asks you to text them when we're coming back, to do that.
All right, it is 2:59 p.m. So the recess has expired from the time that we needed to. We now want to go to a report from the Standing Committee on Resolutions. Gabby Medina, you are recognized.
Thank you. I'm going to drop a link to our Google Drive where a copy of all the resolutions, the resolution agenda, the minutes, and a copy of the report I'm going to be giving today is available to all of you. We met yesterday and we approved 4 resolutions. The first one of which was the line 3 resolution, which passed with 21 ayes, 1 nay. This resolution calls for YDA to oppose the construction of the Enbridge Line 3 and supports a moratorium on any new fossil fuel power generation capacity whose economic life extends beyond 2030, including any new or replacement crude oil pipelines. The existing Line 3 is an Enbridge pipeline that transports crude oil from Alberta to Superior, Wisconsin, spanning northern Minnesota and crossing the Leash Lake and Fond du Lac reservations. We also unanimously approved the DC statehead resolution, which is consistent with our current platform. In it, we call for statehood for the people of DC and urge Congress to grant the people of DC the full rights of American citizenship by passing the Washington, D.C. Douglas Commonwealth Admission Act, H.R. 51, which will make residential and commercial areas of the D.C. on the 51st state while preserving smaller federal districts as nation's capital. Additionally, the resolution proposes that the YDA supports changing the U.S. Senate filibuster rules to require only 51 votes to consider statehood legislation, similar to the U.S. Senate's change to conferring life terms for the Supreme Court justices in order to expedite the end of the disenfranchisement of the Douglas Commonwealth residents. We also has a resolution basically reaffirming our foreign policy and principles, beliefs, and values section of our platform. This part of the platform basically states that U.S. foreign policy should promote liberty, democracy, and opportunity throughout the world in a truly collaborative fashion with our allies, shunning unilateralism and living up to our responsibility to the international community, and affirms that the Young Democrats of America believe in the right of the sovereign people to national self-determination. Finally, we approve the COVID vaccines for the world resolution. This resolution passed with 19 ayes and 1 nay. It calls for YDA to call upon the U.S. government and dividing administration to expedite American distribution of the surplus life-saving COVID-19 vaccine supply to the rest of the world, and especially to the countries of the global south, as part of America's commitment to foreign and development aid. Additionally, and this is not part of my report, after the committee, I think I'm gonna move for the adoption of the report formally. When I'm gonna need help on this next part, I need someone to submit a motion to amend the report. As after the meeting was closed, we received an additional resolution that was past our deadline, but it was timely submitted because it had to do with an urgent matter that has to do with current affairs. The resolution is the resolution in support of the Retail, Wholesale, and Department Store Union. That resolution basically speaks about how the Amazon warehouse in Bessemer, Alabama recently held a vote to unionize, and Retail, Wholesale, and Department Store Union is filing a legal challenge. And whereas the retail wholesale department of store union is charging Amazon with unfair labor practices, and whereas the retail wholesale department union is alleging the employer created an atmosphere of confusion, coercion, and fear of reprisals, just interfere with the employees' freedom of choice. Whereas the Young Democrats of America affirm more support for workers organizing in our 2019-2021 platform. Therefore, it resolves that YDA stands in solidarity with the Amazon workers and the retail wholesale department store union, while they are seeking legal relief from the confusion and coercion of Amazon use during this organizing drive. This resolution was submitted by Rob Sambarsky. I think procedurally, I'm supposed to submit my original report, and I asked that once approved, someone amends the report. I believe that's the process. If not, Nathan, please correct me. And if we can amend before approval, can I have a motion to amend the report to include the resolution?
I do believe that the order of it is, before we accept your report, we have the opportunity to amend it. Is that correct, Nathaniel?
Yes, so the process would essentially be as follows, is that the report has now been presented. During debate on the report, if any, that there can be a motion to amend the report. Under the bylaws section 440D, in order for it to be considered, the National Committee first has to vote that it is timely and urgent. So the first vote is actually not on the amendment itself, it's whether to consider the amendment. Then, assuming that passes with a simple majority, then there would be a debate followed by vote on the amendment, and then we can vote on the entire report as amended.
Got you. So I will entertain motions at this time as we prepare for debate on the report. And I do see Rob has his hand raised. You are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to motion to amend the resolutions report to include the resolution for standing in solidarity with the Amazon workers.
Second, Clevenger Morris.
It has been moved and properly seconded. And now we are accepting, or we are deciding on whether or not this is something that we feel is both timely and urgent. I will assume that I can accept that it is by unanimous consent. If there is no objection, seeing that it is timely and it is submitted as an amendment, we will now open the floor for debate on the amendment or a motion to close debate. I see that Rob has his hand raised. You are recognized.
I would like to move to close debate.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded by who?
Clevenger Morris.
It has been properly moved and seconded to close debate. I think I need to do I have to do a vote on that one, or can I just do consent, Nate?
If there's no objection, then we do not need a vote.
Okay, perfect. Is there objection? Objection. We have now moved out of debate, and we are set up for a vote. I will hand it over to Secretary Rebecca Penn to lead the voting process on this amendment to the resolutions report.
All right. We could do a voice vote for this, correct? We've always done voice votes. Okay, yeah. Thank you, Rob. All those in favor of passing the resolutions package, including the just added fifth resolution. All those in, ooh, baby. All those in favor, please use the yes reaction. All those opposed, please use the no reaction. And all those abstaining, please use the slower reaction. Can someone also make me the co-host so I can see the counts? That's Quentin, I need to do that.
Or if you want to just give her back host, and then I'll make Quentin co-host again.
There we go.
All right. The package passes.
Thank you so much for that. We now have the floor open for debate on the amended report for resolutions. I will also entertain a motion to close debate.
Motion to close debate, Seamus Campbell, New York.
Second, Matthew Kochevar, Indiana.
It has been moved by Seamus and seconded by Matthew. I'll hand it back over, or we'll move to close debate. If there is no objection, seeing none, debate is hereby closed. We will move into voting on the amended resolution. I will hand it back over to Secretary Rebecca Penn to lead the vote.
All right, could everyone please put your reactions down?
Dewan, to turn off your reaction, you just want to click the same button you clicked the first time.
All right, we're down to 10, 9. Okay, we're close. All right. All right, so all those in favor of, we're passing the whole resolutions package now, right?
Yes.
All those in favor of passing the entire resolutions package.
Hold on 1 second, because we still had hands up. We need 4 to go down. Edgar, Ortiz, Shayla, and Adam Strider. Can you all lower your yeses?
And Reem as well.
Oh, no, you can go to more and clear all feedback, Rebecca.
Oh, that would be good to know. Okay, thank you. Apologies for that. I'm learning. Sorry. All those in favor of passing our resolutions package, please vote yes. All those opposed, what?
As amended.
As amended. All those opposed, please vote no. And all those abstaining, please use the slower button. And the amended resolutions package passes.
Thank you so much, Madam Secretary, and thank you as well, Chairwoman Gabby, for your report and all of the hard work that went into creating it. We will now be moving into a report from the Standing Committee on Legislation, and I would like to recognize the Chair of Legislation, Sam Bowman.
Hello, National Committee and those who are watching. It is Bowman, like the congressman. My best example for you all now, actually, since that has happened. The Legislation Committee received 12 bills by the submission deadline. The committee split assignments across a few of our 9 work groups. Those who may not be aware or forgotten about the Legislation Committee, YDA members are allowed to submit up to 3 pieces of federal legislation for endorsement between national meetings. Bills submitted for endorsements cover the following topics. Criminal justice had 3, labor education workforce had 3, healthcare received 2 companion bills that were endorsed in the last Congress, so they were just submitting again, 2 for voting rights, and then 1 for climate crisis and economic justice, sorry. The full committee endorsed 10 of the 12 submissions. We were unable to endorse one of the submissions because it was from the last Congress. If you were a chartered unit president that's thinking to themselves, do I have a representative to the Legislation Committee? We are missing a number of units. So please send an email to legislation@yda.org to inquire about representation from your unit. Similarly to the what happened with resolutions, we did receive a piece of legislation that was submitted to the secretary after our legislation committee. The bill received an adequate number of signatures to designate this as an urgent piece of legislation up for endorsement. The bill in question is HR 51, which is DC statehood. The legislation committee endorsed the 2020 version of the bill, but did not receive a submission for the 2021 bill. This is because one of the reasons for this to be submitted was that we did receive a bill for Puerto Rico statehood, and we did endorse this, and it did seem like this would be a great option, to be endorsing them at the same time. So with that being said, I will need your help to begin the process again, similarly for amending and voting. Thank you.
I will entertain a motion to amend the legislation report.
Motion to amend the legislation report.
I second.
Okay, yeah.
Sorry.
I will recognize Andrew as the one who made that motion, since he had his hand raised and he's from DC. And then who wants the second?
Seconded, Giovanni.
I heard second by Joe. Is that who it was?
It's Jovan.
Oh, Jovan. So it has been moved properly by Andrew and seconded by Jovan to amend the report to include HR 51 for DC statehood. I'll move this by unanimous consent if there is not objection. Seeing none, I will now open the floor for debate on whether or not we want to accept this amendment, or I will entertain a motion to close debate. Please raise your hand to do so. Janice, I see their hand. On what point do you rise?
Motion to close debate.
Is there a second? Hans?
Second. Jerry's from Mississippi.
Okay, it has been properly moved by Janice and seconded by Jarius to close debate. I will do so if there is not objection. We are now in line to take a vote on whether or not to add HR 51 for DC statehood to the report, and I will hand it over to Rebecca for this purposes of voting.
Hi, everyone. So I'm just going to clear everything, all the feedback. All those in favor of adding HR 51 to the legislation package, please vote with the yes button. All those opposed, please use the no button. And all those abstaining, please use the slower button. All right, and it passes.
All righty, thank you so much. We are now in line for debate on the submission of the legislation amended report or a motion to close debate. Hans, I see your hand raised.
I will move to close debate on the report.
Second.
It has been moved by Hans and properly seconded by James Parker. And I will move that by unanimous consent if there is not objection.
Point of inquiry, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
So if we close debate here, does that mean we'll then move immediately into voting to approve the appraisals of the legislation committee as recommended?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Are there any other questions at this time? I'll go back into accepting the closure of debate by unanimous consent if there is no objection. Seeing none, debate is now closed on the Legislations Committee's report. We are now in line for a vote. to accept the Legislations Committee's report as amended. I will hand it over to Secretary Rebecca Penn for the purposes of conducting the vote.
Everyone, I cleared everything. So all those in favor of approving and passing the legislation package, including the including adding DC statehood, or yeah, that's one. Please vote yes. All those opposed, please vote no. All those abstaining, please use the slower button. And the package passes.
Thank you so much. And also thank you, Chair Bowman. My apologies for messing it up, for all of your hard work and all of those on the Legislation Committee, as well as the Resolutions Committee prior to this, who did the difficult task of going through all of these to make sure that they were properly vetted and submitted. We will now be going to a report from the Standing Committee on Rules. Matthew Kochevar, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Standing Committee on Rules and Charter met yesterday to consider a number of timely submitted proposals to the YDA Charter bylaws and standing rules. We did consider 5 proposed amendments, for which we report back to the National Committee 3 of those amendments for the National Committee's approval. That is one, multiple amendments to the charter and bylaws pertaining to the National Convention. Another multiple amendments to the charter and bylaws pertaining to regional caucuses, and a bylaw amendment to amend section 440D of the bylaws pertaining to the Resolutions Committee. Now, I do know that in various other reports earlier at today's meeting, there has been some reference made to some of these various proposed amendments. They are in the report that's been shared with the National Committee. The first part of the report has to do with the amendments regarding the National Convention. They broadly have to do with if the National Committee has to move to a virtual setting because of the demands of public health and disaster emergencies, as well as dealing with other matters confronting the upcoming National Convention in regards to public health, as well as certain changes that have been found to be necessary for candidate filing. The second part of the report has to do with the regional caucuses that Hannah had mentioned in her report earlier today in regards to giving flexibility to those regional caucuses in being able to hold their conferences or conventions to elect new officers, and making adjustments to the National Committee or National Convention voting ratio if those optional methods for hosting that convention is used. And the third part of the report along the pertaining to the Resolutions Committee has to do with adding on additional rules for submitting and consideration of resolutions presented to that committee. I've also been asked to note that in part 1 of the report, the rule changes having to do with the National Convention, that proposed amendment received unanimous approval from the Rules Committee. Personally, as chair, I would ask that the National Committee approve the proposed amendments stated in the report so that they can be added to the charter, bylaws, and standing rules. I will yield back the floor to the president. Happy to answer any questions that I can. Additionally, I would also like to thank the other officers, Igor and Emily, as well as all the members of the Rules Committee for their hard work, not only at this meeting, but at the previous meetings that we've had virtually. This has been a term like no other for the Rules Committee in adjusting to how we conduct our business. It's been slow. We've adopted many different changes, but they have been good. I think it's made everything move more efficiently. And I would hope any future committees would continue to use those procedures and expand on them to make sure that all members are heard in the committee, but that the committees do not get bogged down in procedure. Lastly, I know Igor is not on this meeting here since he's already turned 36, but he did remain vice chair through the rest of this term. And I would just like to send my congratulations to him for all of his hard work for the Young Democrats of America, and wish him nothing but the best in his future endeavors. And with that, I yield back.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. We appreciate you and the committee's hard work on this. Andrew Goldston, I see your hand raised. On what point do you rise?
Mr. President, I just want to say on a personal note that Matthew has done an incredible job running the Rules Committee, and I just want to compliment him on that. But the reason I obviously sought recognition is that I'd like to move that we separate out Part 3 of the Rules Report for individual consideration, separate from the rest of the report. And at the appropriate time, I would ask to be heard on Part 3 of the Rules Report.
It is proper to request that this be separated from the committee report to take up its own consideration. So that is recognized. We are now in line for debate on the submitted resolutions or questions to the chair or motions to close debate. If you would like to do either of those, please feel free to raise your hand at this time. I see Becky Beaver has her hand raised. On what point do you rise?
Motion to close debate.
It has been properly moved. Is there a second?
Second, Devontae of North Carolina.
It has been properly moved by Becky Beaver and seconded by Devontae Wilson. I will accept this by unanimous consent if there is no objection.
Mr. President, I object, and I would like to be heard on the objection.
Gotcha. It has been objected to. And are you objecting to closing debate?
I object to the closure of debate on Part 3.
So this is closure of debate on the first part.
Oh, okay. So we're voting on Parts 1 and 2 now, is what you're saying? Oh, I apologize, and I withdraw my objection.
Right. Because you separated them, you just have to request for them to separate it, for them to be separated. That doesn't have to be voted on or anything like that.
My misunderstanding. I apologize and withdrawn.
No problem. I apologize for not clarifying more. We'll go back into it. This is the closure of debate on Parts 1 and 2 of the Rules Committee report. And it has been properly moved and seconded. And so we will accept that by unanimous consent if there is not objection. We can now move into a vote on Parts 1 and 2 of the Rules Committee's report, and I will hand it over to Secretary Rebecca Penn to conduct that vote.
Apologies, just give me 1 minute. I'm trying to do a few things at once. Okay. So this is, I just want to make sure I'm double crystal clear, motion to pass 1 and 2.
Yes.
Okay. Charles, put your yes down. All right. All those in favor of passing rules changes 1 and 2, please vote yes. All those opposed, please vote no. All those abstaining, please use the slower button. If you accidentally use faster, I'll count that as abstaining. All right. And the rules 1 and 2 pass.
All righty. We are now in line for a debate or a motion on Part 3 of the Rules Committee report. Andrew Goldston, I see your hand raised. On what point do you rise?
I'd like to speak in debate.
All righty. We will start to establish debate I will hand it over to Secretary Penn for debate. She can put up the rules that we established for debate at these meetings, so that everybody is aware of them. And then we will figure out if you want to speak in the proponency or opponency of this under her direction. So Rebecca, I hand it back to you.
Sure, I'll put up those rules in a second. Matthew, would you mind just reminding folks what 3 is so we know what we're all talking about?
Yes, of course. Part 3 of the report has to do with the bylaw amendment to section 440D. This has to do with additional procedures for how resolutions are submitted to the resolutions committee.
Thank you, I appreciate it. And then here are the the rules for speaking, rules for debate. So just know that you have no more than 2 minutes on an issue, and we're going to keep it to one person at a time, and we'll alternate. And I'm wondering if a good way we could do, well, I think we should still use the raise hand button. And I wonder if, let's see how creative we want to get today. Do folks, sorry, Josh, I'm going a little off, but I'm trying to make this as easy as possible. I'm wondering if you're raising your hand for debate, if you could put you could change your name to maybe having in favor, like pro or con at the beginning. So Josh can see in the order if you're pro or con. So maybe change your state to like I see Charles raise his hand, maybe put it, if you're pro, put pro dash.
Hey, Rebecca.
Sorry.
It would probably be simpler if they just did green and red, like yes and no.
Oh, that's also a really smart idea. So everyone, just, if you want to debate, please raise your hand. And then if you are in favor, if you are discussing it in pro, please use the green yes button. And if you're con, please use the red button. Thank you for the suggestion, and apologies for overcomplicating things.
No worries. You make everything so easy that it's very easy to overcomplicate the process, because you do such a great job at making it simple for us.
Oh, I remember why we can't do this. You can't raise your hand and be red or green at the same time.
Right. But we would just have green for yes and red for no, as they've identified which side they want to speak on. So I could go back and forth that way. They don't have to raise their hand. We acknowledge by them using the yes and no that they want to participate in debate.
Got it. It just might not be it's going to be in a different order.
It might not do it in stack order.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to say. It won't be stack order. It's going to be whatever Josh sees first.
Oh yeah, I was just going to scroll down. Charles, you still have your hand raised. Is there a point that you're rising on?
Yes, I have a request from the chair. Could we please put the text of the amendment on the Zoom screen that's being shared for everyone? I know that people have access to it in a drive, but I think it might be helpful.
Sure, give me a second to grab it.
Thank you.
It's in here somewhere.
To answer the question in the chat, Mike, if you want to limit debate, you just simply make a motion to do so. I don't think that we probably need to limit debate. It doesn't seem like there's going to be a whole lot of debate on this. But if you want to limit
jinx
debate,
it.
Huh?
I said you just jinxed it.
Oh, I mean, it's 2 minutes per person, so it can only be so long.
Matthew, I'm going to need your help. Which
Part 3 should be the last page of the report.
All right, find this report in my inbox. Apologies, everyone.
Yeah, it's the very last page.
This is true, Blake.
Sorry, I'm trying to find the report in my email.
Oh, I just dropped it into the chat.
Oh, that makes things a lot easier. Thank you, everyone. Apologies.
No, you're killing it, Rebecca.
I'm like, I can go into it later, but the housing market is very depressing and it put me in a mood this morning. So apologies for the, sorry, that was point of personal privilege. All right, I'll put this up. Thank you, Andrew, for sharing it.
Yeah, so it's on the last page.
All righty. If you are wishing to speak in proponency of this measure, please signify by using the green check mark. And if you are wishing to speak against it, please signify by using the red X. I see one person so far. I don't know who submitted this bylaw amendment, but you are probably the person who wants to speak in the proponency of it. All righty. Well, we will go to Andrew Golston. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you, and I want to thank everybody for your indulgence and for taking a few moments on this issue. I promise I'll be brief. So basically, Part 3 of the rules report creates guidelines for how resolution committee leaders can solicit stylistic changes to resolutions in advance of their consideration by the resolutions committee at national committee meetings or at conventions. Unfortunately, it contains language that explicitly bars officers from the resolutions committee from proactively suggesting any substantive changes whatsoever to the people who propose these things before those submissions are before the committee at the actual meeting or at the actual convention. So this language was included by the sponsor in an attempt to prevent inappropriate interference or intimidation by the officers of the committee to prevent, unpopular things or things that they don't want to, they don't want to come up from coming up. But instead, this language is so overly broad that it bars the committee officers from doing their job to help members of this organization improve the proposals they're putting forward or avoid pitfalls. Things like somebody might have accidentally used offensive language, or somebody maybe described something the wrong way, or something like that. Changes that might be considered substantive rather than stylistic in the context of a resolution, but are things that you probably would want to fix before they turn into a mess at a meeting. This rules change, the way it's currently drafted, would prevent the committee officers from doing that and actually make it against the rules for them to even try. So this proposal passed out of rules by a vote of only 9-8 with 10 abstentions. When other proposals typically pass the committee with more than 20 votes. So I think this is a reflection that a lot of members had serious concerns about it. So I would urge that this proposal not be approved now and that we revisit this at the next convention, hopefully with some more balanced language that lets the chair and vice chair and secretary of the rules the resolutions committee do their job, but also addresses the concerns that the sponsor rightly has about preventing intimidation, but not in a way that shoots ourselves in the foot. That's my pitch.
That's fine.
So I would
Andrew,
ask you to vote no. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your comments on this. Is there anybody wishing to speak in the proponency? Anyone wishing to speak in the proponency? Anyone wishing to speak at all? Seeing none, I will assess that debate has now closed. We are now in line to vote on Charles Myers. I see your hand raised. On what point do you rise?
I would move to refer this back to the Rules Committee.
Second. Clevenger Moore.
Nathaniel?
Yes, Mr. Chair. President?
Move it back to the Rules Committee.
You want to, it's a motion to refer back to the Rules Committee. Usually there would need to be some, or typically the idea is for there to be some directive of what would want to be considered, but even without that, I believe it is proper. I'm double checking something right now.
I mean, if we voted it down for all intents and purposes, it could just go back to the Rules Committee too, right?
If it failed, it would have to be re-brought up before the Rules Committee versus automatically being sent back to them.
Noted.
Yeah, it's in order to do.
All righty. It has been moved by Charles Myers and properly seconded by, I believe, Chris Clevenger Morris, that this rule be submitted back to the Rules Committee for further examination. I will accept that by unanimous consent if there is no objection.
Mr. President, I have to object momentarily. I actually have a parliamentary inquiry, really two, before we go there. So my first parliamentary inquiry is that I do not anticipate the Rules Committee meeting before the end of this term. And so to the parliamentarian, if this was referred back to the Rules Committee, wouldn't it die once we begin the National Convention when the terms end? And so then that would lead to number two. Would we just, this piece of proposed amendment just land back in the same place of file it at the National Convention at the next opportunity where you can amend the charter and bylaws? And so it would just be easy enough to vote this down instead of refer it back to committee where no action is going to be taken on it.
Mr. President, would you like me to address that?
Yes, sir.
So, Mr. Chair, my interpretation of our bylaws and documents is that the term does not officially end until the new officers are elected. Assuming, and I believe that this would occur, and please someone correct me if I'm wrong, but that any charter or bylaw amendments that are proposed at the National Convention would occur prior to the election of officers. As such, it would still, under my interpretation of our governing documents and Roberts, be within the same term.
Does that sufficiently answer your question, Mr. Chair?
Just one additional follow-up for the parliamentarian. Given the information that you've just provided to us, if this went back to the Rules Committee, would it be considered at the convention? That would be its next opportunity?
Yes, as I see it, it would be considered at the National Convention. However, it would be considered by the Convention Rules Committee most likely versus the Standing Committee on Rules.
That answers all my questions, Mr. President, and I will be voting for this motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Ariel Mafi, I see your hand raised. On what point do you rise?
Thank you, President. I just had a parliamentary question as well. Can Andrew, I think in conversations yesterday, you maybe brought up some thoughts and some changes. Can those be brought up here for the National Committee to discuss, or no? It's what we're being presented with, and we just have to vote on whether or not we want to send this back at this point.
I believe, and Nathan would have to answer this, in order for us to amend something, we would have to move into, I can't remember what it's called, to change. Nathaniel, there's a parliamentary inquiry.
Yeah, I don't think that we can do it for rules specifically, do floor amendments to the actual language. And the reason why is that section 440B of the, I believe it's the bylaws, state that no rule change, charter amendment, or bylaw amendment shall be submitted to the National Committee until it has been favorably reported out of this committee. As such, as I see it, that amendments that are made from the floor have not been reported favorably out of the committee and therefore are out of order.
Okay, thank you. And I see in the chat it's possible to also just have a meeting of the group. So I appreciate everybody. Thanks so much.
Not a problem. Thank you so much, Nathaniel. Are there any other questions at this time? Seeing none, I do believe that a motion was made for us to submit this back to the Rules Committee by Charles Myers, seconded by Chris Clevenger Morris. And we were accepting that by unanimous consent if there was not objection. Seeing none, we will resubmit this part 3 of the Rules Committee report back to Rules Committee for further consideration.
Thank you, Mr. President, and I'm sorry for the delay.
No problem. And that would complete your report, right, Mr. Co-Chiever?
The first of two reports, yes. The next one is the temporary rules.
Gotcha. Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members of the National Committee, I present to you a second report from the Standing Committee on Rules and the Charter. As this is the last National Committee meeting before the National Convention in August, according to bylaw section 350A, the Standing Committee on Rules and Charter has to meet to propose temporary rules to the upcoming National Convention to the National Committee. And after due consideration by the committee, we report to you two sets of temporary convention rules, one set to be used if the convention does meet in person, and another set to be used if, in accordance with the charter and bylaws, is determined that the convention has to be moved to a virtual convention. Both sets of temporary rules are based off of the permanent convention rules that were used in Indianapolis in 2019 with some different amendments in various sections having to do with matters of public health, empowering the convention chair and the sergeant at arms to enforce certain public health protocols and rules that may be in place for the convention, adjustments of certain items that are based on the charter and bylaws as they were just amended from the previous report that I just gave. In addition to making certain rules in the temporary rules not being eligible for suspension of the rules according to Robert's Rules of Order. I'm happy to go through any section, answer any questions that the National Committee may have on these, but I would ask that you vote in and approve this report and the sets of temporary rules.
All right, thank you for that report, Mr. Chairman. I do see a hand raised. Andrew Goldston, on what point do you rise?
So moved. Adopt.
There is, I would assume that is your motion to close debate.
If there are no speakers, I don't think that motion is necessary.
We go automatically into debate after the report, and then we close debate, and then we go into the vote. So
great, let's close debate. I so move.
Second motion to close debate.
It has been properly moved by Andrew and seconded by Hans. Gabby, did you have a point of inquiry or clarification needed on something?
No, I was seconding.
Okay, thank you for that. It has been properly moved and seconded by both Hans and Gabby for the purposes of this. We'll accept that by unanimous consent if there is no objection. Hearing none, we will now move into a vote on it. I will turn it over to Secretary Rebecca Penn for the purposes of conducting the vote.
Hi, everyone. Great. I think you all know the drill. So to adopt the temporary rules, the two sets, thank you, Rules Committee. Please vote yes. To not adopt, to not accept them, please vote no. And to abstain, use the slower button. There's something really pleasant about all the green popping up, but also not all the yelling. So normally, a convention is very exciting, but I think when we're all in our own homes, it's nice when it's calm. And it passes. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Madam Secretary, and also thank you, Mr. Chairman, for your hard work, as well as all of the committee members who contributed to making sure that those were passed and in proper order. We will now be moving to the second to last part of the agenda, the special orders. This is the confirmation of presidential appointments. I have made 3 appointments since we last met, and I would ask that we accept them all, but we probably need to do it individually. So Do we need
Let
to
me put them up first. Hold on.
Yep. Charles, I see your hand raised. On what point do you rise?
I'm just anticipating speaking on behalf or speaking in favor of Fatima Hayward as Deputy Director of Chapter Building. So I'll wait until we're considering that appointment.
For sure. Nathaniel, can I pass all three of these at once?
You cannot, Mr. Chair, because they are written in the agenda as special orders with separate line considerations. We would need to go one by one.
Understood. So the first appointment, it would be for Fatima Hayward from New Jersey, who's currently the president of New Jersey Young Dems. As the deputy director of chapter building, Fatima has been working in the interim capacity on this already and been doing an absolutely amazing job. She was recommended by the chair of the chapter building committee, Nettie Stevens, and she's up for consideration. So we will now, I guess, move into, this wouldn't be debate, would it?
It could be debatable, Mr. Chair.
Well, I know people want to make statements, so I guess is that debate?
Yes.
All right, we'll now move into debate or entertain a motion to close debate. Charles Myers, your hand is raised. I'll recognize you first.
So as I said in my officer's report, Fatima has done excellent work in an interim capacity as the deputy chair of the chapter building committee. It has been a real honor and a privilege to work with someone who has displayed as much care and consideration for the opinions of other state presidents in that capacity as Fatima has. And I would urge the National Committee to make sure that her appointment is confirmed.
Thank you so much, Charles. Nitty, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise in such strong support for the confirmation of the appointment of Fatima Hayward as deputy for the chapter building committee. I mean, since the last meeting in December, when she had reached out to me saying that she wanted to be part of this role, I mean, from there, her and I were, I mean, essentially kind of hitting the ground running. She has been such a pivotal part of this committee, making sure that things are moving smoothly and effectively, and ensuring that everyone's voice is heard. I mean, I can't speak enough to how amazing she is, how dedicated she is, just how powerful of a leader she is in this role. And so with that, I really encourage everyone and I implore everyone to vote in the affirmative to confirm her appointment.
Anyone else wishing to speak at this time? I will take a moment of personal privilege myself to say, when Nettie took over chapter building, she did so with such tenacity that we saw immediate changes to the culture around that. And I didn't know that it was a next level that there could be there until Fatima joined the team and they together went full force in making sure that amazing things were coming out of it. So I wholeheartedly approve of this appointment, and I hope that you will as well. Hans, I see your hand raised.
I will move to close debate on the confirmation of Fatima Hayward.
There's been a motion. Is there a second?
Second, Arrow Fay, Illinois.
There has been a proper motion and second to close debate. I'll accept that by unanimous consent if there is no objection. We will now vote on the confirmation of Fatima Hayward as the Deputy Director of Chapter Building. I will give it over to Secretary Rebecca Penn to lead the vote.
Great, everyone. All right, I'm going to clear everything right now. All right, all those in favor of appointing Fatima Hayward as Deputy Director of Chapter Building, please vote yes. All those opposed, please vote no. All those abstaining, please use slow down. People are getting creative with the emojis or the icons. And congratulations, Fatima. It passes.
Congratulations, Fatima. If you want to take a couple of seconds, not very long at all, to say something, I will give the floor over to you right now.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I just want to kick it off by just saying thank you for everyone who shared remarks, and thank you for everyone who really has put your faith in me. I know that this work is not easy, and it's really an honor to just be able to work alongside someone as amazing as Nettie and be able to work with the chapter building committee and now our newly formed stakeholders group. I wholeheartedly believe in organizational development, leadership development, chapter building, as well as just ensuring that we have a strong foundation to continue doing the great work that we're doing. So thank you so much for the confidence in me to be able to help lead this and be able to build out this work. And I'm just very thankful for the opportunity once again. So thank you all.
Thank you. We will now be moving to the next appointment of co-chiefs of staff. So we have had 2 deputy chiefs of staff since the beginning of our administration when we made appointments. Upon the vacancy in the chief of staff position, I made the decision to move both of the deputies from deputy status to chief of staff status, where they can work together and support each other. They have been doing a phenomenal job since then in terms of coordinating with not only all of you, but making sure that things are organized on behalf of the organization. So I wholeheartedly support both of these individuals for this position. And we will start with Matthew Ruiz for co-chief of staff. If anybody would like to make statements or motions to close debate, you can do so at this time. Anybody who wants to make a statement or a motion to close debate can do so at this time.
Amber from Tennessee, I'm from Georgia.
I got Amber from Tennessee, and who was the second person?
I submitted the motion, but second, Eduardo Aviles from Georgia.
All right, it has been properly moved and seconded to close debate on the issue. I will accept that by unanimous consent if there is not objection. Hearing none, we will now move into a vote on the confirmation of Matthew Ruiz as the co-chief of staff, and I will hand it over to Secretary Rebecca Penn to lead the vote.
Apologies, I was muted. Sorry, I'm just going to clear everything. Okay, all those in favor of Matthew being co-chief of staff, please vote yes. All those opposed, please vote no. All those abstaining, please use the slow down. All right, I'll give everyone another few seconds. All right, and it passes.
Congratulations, Matthew Ruiz. If you want to take a brief moment to make a statement, the floor is yours.
Thank you for everyone for voting, even those that may have voted no in these roles. We will continue to work hard with everyone as that is our job. So I thank you, Mr. President, for appointing us, and we'll continue to work alongside Mina Davis all the way to the end of our term.
Thank you so much. Mina Davis is also a former deputy or a current deputy chief of staff moving into the role of co-chief of staff alongside Matthew. All of the things that I said previously applies to her. She is amazing. He is amazing. They do amazing work together. We will now open the floor for statements or a motion to close debate. Kerrigan Sanders, I see your hand raised. On what point do you rise?
I rise to speak in favor of
Mina Davis being elected for co-chief of staff. I know that she is from Nebraska, but we here from Texas, we have her. She is very persistent, persevering in everything that she does. And I know that she will lead this forward and making sure that everything is being done. And we see this in everything that she does. So I ask the membership in this body to please vote in the affirmative for Mina Davis, and I yield back my time.
Thank you so much for that. Anyone else wishing to, okay, Dontavius Geralds, I see your hand is raised. On what point do you rise?
I rise to also support the appointment of Mina Davis. As chair of the Black Caucus, I've had a chance to work with her as she is one of our appointed executive team members. And, every time we're on a meeting, I always hear her give an update related to the work that she's proud to do as in this current role as in the interim. And so I just want to say thank you to her for her leadership, for continuing to do good work in this role. And I'm asking everyone to vote in the affirmative to put her permanently in this role. So looking forward to seeing the work she does moving forward.
Permanently seems a little excessive, but we will definitely keep her in this position until the end of the term. Charles Myers, I see your hand raised. On what point do you rise?
I also rise to speak in favor of the appointment of Mina as the assigned staff contact to me as a board member. Mina has always been responsive, no matter how ridiculous the hour. And I believe that she will do an excellent job as the co-chief of staff.
I agree completely. Sasha Primo Shaw, I see your hand raised. On what point do you rise?
Thank you, Mr. President. So I wanted to speak on behalf of both of them in their appointments. Matthew Ruiz, he's currently serving as our chief of staff for the Young Democrats of Oklahoma, and he has been absolutely amazing. Like Matt shows up. He's done a fantastic job as co-chief of staff for YDA as well. As far as I've seen, he's always been responsive. He's always been available for different needs. And so I just wanted to speak on his behalf because I love Matt and I think he would do a great job. And then Mina as well. I've been knowing her for years and she's a hard worker. That girl works. Like if you can't say anything about Mina, like you can't say that she doesn't work her butt off and put her, if she puts her mind to it, she will excel at whatever job that she wants. So, and that she holds. So I just wanted to make those remarks and speak in favor of these two individuals. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. Kobe Duhan of Texas, I see your hand raised. On what point do you rise?
Rise for the approval of Mina Davis as co-chief of staff. Thank you so much. Y'all know I got to hop in here on my Texas sister, Mina Davis, to serve to be appointed today as co-chief of staff, a position in which she has already been excelling in the interim. Mina is not only the mother of my dog nephews, but is also a profile in tenacity and courage in what it looks like to move to a new state, learn a new state, plug directly into Young Democrat leadership, and get up and put yourself on the ballot and run for office. And then, when the results aren't quite what we hoped, to dust yourself off, get back in the fight. And very soon we will get to call Mina an honorable trustee once we win that race. So I am super stoked to see her continuing her path of leadership in this organization and would urge a vote in the affirmative.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. Scott Urbanowski, I see your hand raised. On what point do you rise?
Yeah, I would, in addition to echoing all the comments in favor of Mina, I would also like to suggest that, or to point out that she is also, in my view, very gracious and diplomatic. And I can imagine that the role of chief of staff is very difficult, but she is definitely going to be able to do a great job in this role. And like Colby said, she is absolutely tenacious and dusting herself right off and running for office again. And she's going to do a great job, hopefully do a great job for her district, for her school district, but also for YDA, just like she already does. So I completely support. And with that, I move to close debate.
It's been properly moved. Is there a second?
Jovan.
Second, Becky Beaver.
I heard Jovan first, though Becky Beaver did provide the state. So we'll say both of them have seconded this. And I will accept that by unanimous consent if there is no objection. Objection. We are now in line to vote on the confirmation of Mina Davis to the position of co-chief of staff. I will hand it over to Rebecca to lead the vote.
Great. All right, I'm going to clear everything. All those in favor of approving Mina as one of the co-chiefs of staff, please vote yay, the green yes button. All those opposed, please vote with the red nay button. And all those abstaining, please use the slower button. Kathy, are you asking a question or voting in favor? All right, and Mina is approved.
That is awesome. So first, Mina, I want to give you the ability to address the body and the new co-chief of staff. Briefly, though.
Yes, no, I will be brief because I'm actually outside getting tacos. Yes, my work is mobile. I'm telling you, Chief of Staff, we are everywhere. I am here and available for you no matter where I am. I am the love that you have shown me, I am giving that love right back. If you don't have my phone number now, write it down. I'll type it in the chat, 402-707-0030, because frankly, if you need something, if you have questions, or you just want to call and complain, I'm your girl. But I love all of you equally, and thank you all for confirming me. And I look forward to serving you. All right? All right.
Thank you so much. I want to take another moment of personal privilege to just thank Jen House as the former chief of staff. She dedicated a lot of time, effort, and energy to this organization being as great as it is. A lot of you are seeing that continue as she leads this host committee in preparation for convention. And so we want to give her flowers today as we confirm these new chiefs of staff. We say that she did such a great job. We put two people in to carry the work that she did. So thank you, Jen. With that, we are at the end of our meeting. We will open the floor for announcements at this time. So if there is any announcement that you want to make on behalf of your state, caucus, region, or organization, feel free to raise your hand so that you can be recognized at this time. We'll start with Amber Sherman of Tennessee. You are recognized.
What's up? This is Amber. I'm the National Committee Representative for Tennessee. I'm also the Women's Caucus Vice Chair. Just a few quick announcements for Tennessee. We've elected the first Black millennial chair of our Democratic Party for the TNDP. His name is Hendrell Remens. He's my National Committee counterpart. Also, since we last met in December, numerous Black people have still been killed by police, and things are still not changing for Black people in general, Black and brown people especially. So I implore you all to do more and recognize that this is not getting better for us, and whatever you were doing previously, whatever actions you've taken, whatever Black picture you posted on Instagram, do more. Also, I want to highlight that our local Shelby County Young Democrats, which I serve as the vice president for, are doing a week of action as well as protests the last few months for Purvis Payne. He is currently on death row. He has maintained his innocence for over 30 years, and his stay of execution ended on the 9th, so about 2 days ago. We're asking people to call the governor and ask them to give him clemency. I will post the graphic that we're using in the group chats that we have for different YDA stuff, as well as the YDA Facebook. But I want to make sure that we can share this as much as possible. There are also several posts on the Innocence Project social media, their Instagram and their Facebook, about Purvis Payne. And we're pushing the governor to grant him clemency, and anything that you guys can do to share his story, we greatly appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Amber. Tia Hopkins of Maryland, you are recognized.
Hello, everyone. It's Tia Hopkins, Mid-Atlantic Region Director for YDA. I just wanted to welcome all the new National Committee members, especially all the new Gen Z people. It's really exciting to see the Gen Zers make their way onto the National Committee. A couple weeks ago, Maryland elected Noreen to be our new president. She's the first woman of color and the youngest, as she hadn't even been 18 for a month yet before she got elected. So we are just thrilled to have her in Maryland. I'd also like to welcome Olivia as one of our National Committee reps. And yeah, so I'd just like to welcome all the new people. I'm really excited to see all you guys. The oldest millennials are turning 40. So as we gradually shift out, it's just really exciting to see all the Gen Zers make their way in, and we're here for you guys as we get older. So congratulations and welcome, everyone.
Thank you, Tia. Representative Dontavius Gerald of Ohio, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yeah, I have to say, moment of personal privilege. You wearing a black suit with a black shirt and a peppermint tie. I mean, that's an interesting combination, but I like it. I'm as chair of the Black Caucus. There's been a couple of things that we've been working on. One in relation to Reverend Joseph Kitchen's Memorial Scholarship. I think most folks, in our last call, I had talked a little bit about this, and my team and caucus members have been working diligently on getting the framework of the scholarship put together. And I'm really excited about the fact that starting on May 1st, we will be distributing that scholarship application to members of our executive team and our national body so that we can begin to solicit applications from students. The hope is that we will like to raise $5,000 to award $1,000 scholarships to students, preferably who are working in early education or sociology. So being a social worker, partly because of that's just was the work of Joseph and you know, his legacy, really serving kids and really addressing some of those issues that are pervasive in our Black and brown communities. And so I'm really excited about this. And I wanted to just let everyone know to watch your emails and watch your social. We're going to be pushing that out right before May 1st so that we can begin to get applicants. Really, really, really excited about it. And I just want to say thank you to every single member and my executive team for really putting the work behind this initiative to make it happen. The second thing I wanted to talk about is in collaboration with a number of our caucuses, we will be putting out our Black and Brown Summit. We have our team has set a date. It's going to be July 10th, and I'm really, really excited about that. More to come in terms of what the workshops are going to be, but the intent is we want to create a space where we're uplifting the voices of our various caucuses and really doing what we can to talk heavily about some of the issues that still impact not just our party, but still impact our move to equity. And so those are the two things I wanted to bring up. But also, of course, I always want to thank every single caucus member and for joining us this weekend, and also my executive team for putting in so much work. You know, we've really been transformative this year, even in light of the pandemic, to make sure we're connected to our members. And so I'm just excited about the work we're doing, and I'm looking forward to seeing everybody at the convention.
Thank you, Dontavius. Maureen of VA, you are recognized.
Hey y'all, thanks for giving me a little bit of time here. Just want to give a Virginia update. We have had an incredible legislative session, including legalizing marijuana, abolishing the death penalty, passing the Virginia Voting Rights Act, and now coming up in 2021, we have our entire House of Delegates elections as well as our statewide offices. So governor, lieutenant governor, and attorney general are up for election. We have two incredible Black women running for governor. We've only ever had one statewide woman elected in the history of Virginia. And we have an opportunity to have both a female governor and female lieutenant governor this upcoming year. One of the wonderful Black women running for Virginia's governor is also a 3-term VAYD president. So we're pretty excited about her run. But in general, we're going to need some help this upcoming cycle. The Republicans are gearing up to try and take back Virginia, and we have majorities right now. Yes, and the first Black woman governor in the country. And you know, it could be a YD alum, so that'd be really cool. But we're going to need your help. Republicans want to take back the majority in the House of Delegates and take back our statewide positions. So any way that you all can get involved remotely or our neighbors in the Mid-Atlantic, that'd be really, really awesome. Yeah, I think that's about it. I might have missed something, but there's a lot going on here. And we're really excited. So anyone who wants to get involved in Virginia, please find me, please reach out. Oh, we have our convention next weekend. That's the other big one. So thanks, y'all.
Thank you so much for that report. Ariel of IL, you're recognized.
Thank you. We've had also a lot going on here in Illinois. We elected a new chair to our state party. It's Congresswoman Robin Kelly. Our former state chair had held the post for about 23 years. So needless to say, we are very excited about this new direction. Tom and I had the privilege of serving on the transition committee, just submitted its final report last week. So we're really looking forward to seeing some real changes here at the state level. And I think it'll have a real ripple effect in the region and throughout the country. For those of you that don't know Congresswoman Kelly, she is a staunch gun violence advocate, and you know, she has presented several pieces of legislation in Congress around that. So definitely keep an eye out for her. The state of Illinois also became the first state in the country to end cash bail, which will be interesting. That reform will be put into place by 2023. So I think that'll be really setting the standard for, again, national, really sweeping reform in that area. So we're really excited about that. And I just want to publicly thank both Candace and Tom for all of their incredible work as national committee people. Our state convention will be at the end of June, so our terms will be coming up to an end. So I just wanted to say thank you both for all of the work you've done and really continuing to elevate our state and putting our issues at the forefront and representing your peers in such an outstanding way. So thank you, and we look forward to seeing you at convention.
Thank you so much, Ariel. Becky of GA, you're recognized.
Hey, y'all. I'm going to go real quick, but I just wanted to personally thank everyone again so much. If you donated any money or made any calls, or even if you decided to travel down here safely to knock on doors for us in the runoff and help us get 2 Democratic senators, it's a big deal to me. I'm trying not to get emotional. I personally walked 30 miles in the last 2 weeks and my feet were bleeding. So like this meant so much to me, and as a lifelong Georgian, just to see that we have representation right now that's on the ground doing things here in Georgia for people who really need it. It means the world to me more than win, loss, call me even. So I just want to say thank you on that front. And we just got through the Georgia General Assembly. Unfortunately, even though Georgia is blue with our senators, it is not blue in the state legislature whatsoever. Really bad voting access law passed through. It's been called Jim Crow in a suit and tie, basically. It's not good. I know a lot of people focus on the water elements of it, but there's honestly so much in there that's still worse. That's just one of the more ridiculous points. But we are going to have lawsuits. If you got a little spare change hanging around, I would highly recommend and request that you donate money to Fair Fight and to the ACLU of Georgia. And thanks so much, y'all, and hopefully I'll see y'all in Cincy.
Thank you so much, Becky. Spencer, ORR, you are recognized.
Thank you. I'd just like to I'd like to recognize the life of one Christian Ovana, an Oregon Young Democrat, an activist who had been working tirelessly in Douglas County as a progressive organizer there on behalf of various campaigns, both for measure implementation, including drug treatment measure, and also for state legislative campaigns, including for Senate District 1 in Oregon. Douglas County is a real GOP stronghold and kind of a sort of a power base of very regressive timber industry there. So it's admirable the work he was doing. What they were doing. Christian unexpectedly died just the other weekend, and we are mourning their loss and would like to acknowledge their work and legacy and thank them for their service to the party.
Thank you so much for that. And we send our condolences as well. Seisha, okay, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to make note that this will be my last meeting as the president of Young Democrats of Oklahoma. We have our convention on Saturday, and I am honored to have served in this position. And, you know, I'm up there as, I think it was T or somebody said, you know, I'm one of the elder millennials. I was born in 87, which is the best year. I don't care what none of y'all say, because in 87, like that's where it all went down. But anyway, yes, we're having our convention this coming Saturday, April, I think this the 17th. All the dates are running together for me right now. But yes, and then also you're all invited to come. It's going to be virtual. You just need to register so we can send you the Zoom link. But then also, and that convention will be starting at 10 Central Time. But also, I wanted to make mention of the Tulsa Massacre centennial this year. For those of you who don't know, there was a, they called it a race riot, but there was a terrorist attack on a Black community here in Oklahoma 100 years ago. It'll be May 29th. It happened May 29th through June the 2nd. And we will be having in-person, socially distanced, and virtual activities commemorating that. So I just wanted to make note of that, because I know the next time we'll meet as a body will be for the convention. So I just wanted to put that on everyone's minds. And if you aren't familiar with the Tulsa Massacre, definitely Google what happened and educate yourselves. The National Guard actually dropped bombs on the community of Greenwood, which was also known as Black Wall Street. And it was one of the most prosperous areas in the nation at the time. So it was founded on Creek Freedman allotments. And I just wanted to just put that on everyone's minds and hearts. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Seisha. Gabby of PR, you are now recognized.
Thank you. I want to thank all of you for your repeated support of Puerto Rico statehood. The last meeting, we approved a resolution for YDA to recognize our plebiscite results as a true act of self-determination. And during this meeting, we've endorsed HR 1522, which is the Puerto Rican Mission Act. I ask all of you from different states, your help loving your members of Congress. Puerto Rico statehood is as close as it's ever been to happening. We're actually having a meeting. We're actually having a meeting. The Natural Resources Committee of the House is going to have like session talk, and they're going to be discussing the different bills on the subject on this month on the 14th. But we still need a little bit more of your help. If any of you wishes to help us, contacting your members of Congress to become co-sponsors if they're not already of HR 1522. We will so appreciate it. There's 3.2 million American citizens in Puerto Rico who have no vote, no voting members of Congress to represent them. And we really depend on y'all to lend us your voices and lend us your members of Congress to get our message out there. So I need your help. I'm asking you, please. If you know anyone and you can get us in meetings, I'm asking you, please help us. Thank you.
Thank you. Blake from AR, you're recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. We have also had an incredible legislative session in Arkansas, but for every possible negative connotation. I wanted to take a moment, because I know everyone has probably seen many headlines about the state of Arkansas, though, to highlight something that I'm very proud of the work of the Young Dems here in the state for doing over the last several months. There are currently over 60,000 Arkansans that are behind on their rent. And our governor and our state leadership did nothing to alert many people of the eviction moratorium. And so we as an organization have knocked on over 14,000 doors across the state of Arkansas. And along with the assistance of Arkansas Renters United based out of Little Rock, we have personally intervened and stopped over 140 evictions in just the last 3 weeks. I am incredibly proud of the work that members of this organization have done. And like Seisha, this is my last meeting as a state president. So I have had an incredible 4 years, and I am really appreciative of all the friends I've been able to make. And I wanted to also say how appreciative I am for everyone that is here and the work that you continue to do around the country in your states, whether I have not or have had the opportunity to speak with you or not. I appreciate the work you do. I see the work you do, and I thank you for the work that you do. So thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Colby of TX, you're recognized.
Well, we're just all out here giving our retirement speeches here. I could not be prouder to go out with the likes of folks like Blake Ross and Seisha Primo Shaw. It has been an absolute joy to work alongside these young leaders who are just enviable in the work that they accomplish every day on behalf of the young leaders in their state. I too, this is my last meeting as the Texas Young Democrats president, serving one term and looking at the massive bench of incredible leadership in this state. It felt selfish to stick around. It was really important to me that our next leadership, as I step away, be bolder than I, be younger than I, and come from a community more marginalized than I. And it is my sincere hope that the next president of the Texas Young Democrats will be the second Black woman in our history since 1932 to serve as president. And for the first time, we will have 2 women serving in the top 2 spots. And so I am so incredibly excited. I cannot wait for you to meet the incredible phenom that is Breanna Hutchison, who, like I said, is my biggest hope she will be serving. And so we'll see y'all down the road. I'm going nowhere, you might have noticed. Look forward to seeing y'all down the line. Y'all aren't rid of me yet. Love y'all.
Thank you, Colby. Javon of NY, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just want to invite everyone, kind of breaking up the retirement caucus just a little bit. I do apologize. Let me just say to my colleagues leaving us early, freaking love all three of you. Brilliant to work with each of you in multiple capacities. On behalf of the state of New York, we humbly invite you to the Empire State via virtually. We are doing a convention kickoff on April 30th as a fundraiser, and then we are actually hosting our convention. We are doing a bold plan of attempting to do convention in 12 hours. We are crazy, but we're also from New York, so it makes absolute sense. So May 1st is our convention. Our convention kickoff party is April 30th, and coming to a social platform near you is our one-on-one with the amazing Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer. So I hope everyone tunes in to check that out. We had a great conversation with him earlier today, and we're going to be posting it on social media. And I hope my colleagues and my friends from around this organization take a tune in and check it out. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Jovan. Janice of OH.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to share some great news here from Ohio. I see you, Chris. OH. I'm assuming IO is coming somewhere in the chat. Ohio did something really amazing this year. We elected our new chair, and that chair is the first woman. Thanks, Andy. She is the first woman to be chair of the Democratic Party here in Ohio. And more exciting even for this group is that she's a young Dem. So we have a young Dem as the state party chair. So we're very excited to have her. She's also the president of county council. So a sitting elected official, but also running our party. So we have a woman and a young Dem in one of the most powerful seats in our state. And so we're grateful to have her. So I just wanted to make sure we showed her some love today.
Thank you so much, Janice. Capri of WA, you're recognized.
Hi, Al. I just wanted to bring quick attention to everyone that didn't know that April is Child Abuse Prevention and Sexual Assault Awareness Months. Throughout the pandemic, child abuse has been running significantly higher in the level of impact to the kids that are being harmed without reporting having happened to the same levels. Most of your victim services agencies around the nation are run by volunteers. And as all of us are very well aware, volunteer organizations have been impacted hugely through the pandemic. If you find yourself with some time or anything throughout this next month, please bring attention to these issues and reach out to your local victim services agencies to see how you can help. Thanks.
Thank you, Capri. Madam Executive Vice President, you are recognized.
So California right now, one thing that we're pretty focused on is our governor might be recalled, or they have a petition to recall him. It likely does have enough signatures, and the election would happen this fall. So if and when that does happen, we will of course appreciate anyone that wants to help us with phone banking or anything like that. I think California, we should know what happens when we recall a Democratic governor. We end up with someone like Arnold Schwarzenegger as our governor, and I don't think that should happen. So anyway, I also, Devin, do you want to tag in with me?
Sure. Oh my gosh, you're so sweet. Please start us off, Carrie.
So California is having our convention at the end of this month. I think the same weekend as a lot of others, April 30th through May 2nd. And for the first time in a decade, we will be electing a female president, who also happens to be my best friend, Diane Lee. And so I think everyone is very excited. She's also the national development director for Emerge. So she is very big on trainings and stuff like that. And basically, I just love being a cheerleader for my friends. So I'm very excited for everyone to meet her. So yay, Devin.
And if I could just add a note, like this is really monumental. Carrie, correct me if I'm wrong, but we haven't had a woman lead the California Young Democrats in 10 years.
Yep. The last one is my roommate. Was my roommate.
Yes. And also as a personal note, Diane is one of the most brilliant, strategic, and inclusive-minded people I really know. She is phenomenal, and I can't wait to both have her lead the California Young Democrats, but also be a part of this body. I know that this body has, we've talked about the lack of Asian and API representation, particularly Asian women, and with the incredible amount of hatred and bigotry against Asian people going on in the United States right now, I think it is so important that we affirm and support, just like we should do with Black women, Asian women right now taking in leadership positions. So if I can just do a call to action, this was actually going to be part of my my reference, but I thought it was just timely now to actually do a call to action. I'm putting in Diane's Facebook page on the chat box. If you could take a moment, one moment of your time to just write her a affirming note saying how much you're looking forward to working with her, good words that you heard from Devin or Carrie or something like that, but really just affirming her leadership. Again, she's leading the development department for the largest women's organization focused on training, organizing, and electing women into office. And I think she's just an incredible person all around. So I wanted that to be a call to action for me, just to ask for the National Committee to send her a personal note. And we hope to, more than likely she'll be representing CYD. No one can actually submit a write-in now. So she will be representing us. So thank you all again.
Thank you both for that. And I also encourage you all to go over to Diane's page and give her some affirming words. Derek of WA, you're recognized.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. President. This is going to be my last meeting. We'll have a new election. There'll be a new president from the state of Washington. And I just wanted to give a big thank you to this organization. This is my first year really knowing about YDA, and I'm really appreciative of the text banking that was set up to text swing states to get out the youth vote during this last election. It was very helpful, not just for the election, but it was an easy way to plug in people from our state to help out nationally, and that was huge. And I also especially appreciate the chapter building sessions at the different conventions. There's a lot of good information that I was able to take from that, and hopefully we'll be able to apply it to help build Young Democrats of Washington State in the future. I wish I could have been at an in-person convention to meet all of you all in person, but unfortunately that wasn't in the cards. And so everybody have a great time, and really from the bottom of my heart, thank you very much for letting me be a part of YDA for just this past year. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Kerrigan of TX, you're recognized.
All right, I'm gonna keep this short like we do in church when we gone past time. I would like to say that I am most humbled to be amongst this body this weekend. This is my first time as National Committee woman, and this has been a great experience. I'm so sad to have Colby to be leaving us, and this is his last term, and Jamar. But, we'll be gaining 2 women who will be a force to be reckoned with. Their names are Brianna Hutchison, who will be for president, and Hannah Hort for vice president. And, I'm really looking forward to them coming on and joining us on this platform. Another thing that I want to bring to your attention is that the House Bill 6 and Senate Bill 7 that is being filed in the state legislature here in Texas, that is here to basically suppress our voting rights. It is in the same language or text that is going on in Georgia. It's going to happen all over this country. And I would like to say this. We have the GOP scared because they saw what happened in 2020, that democracy still is here. And that no matter how much they try to overthrow, we are still going to prevail at the end of the day, and the Constitution upheld itself. So you guys, let's march. Let's lobby. Let's do what we need to do to make sure that the GOP is not going to suppress our votes for the Black, brown, LGBTQIA, whatever. I don't care, but let's do it in our states. So that's my call to action to each and every one of you to make sure that we do that so we can secure our votes. Thank you. And I yield back my time.
Thank you, Kerrigan. Stephanie of KY, you're recognized.
Thanks so much, Mr. President. I am Stefan Moore of Kentucky Young Democrats. I am newly elected since the last meeting. So this is my first my first meeting as an official member of this body. So thank you all for welcoming me. And let me just say, when I got elected earlier this year, I was reached out by a number of people from this body, and you all provided a lot of support, guidance, encouragement, and I really appreciate all of that. As far as what's going on in Kentucky, we actually were able to elect the first ever Black man to chair of the Kentucky Democratic Party. He is also a former Young Democrat. Sorry, I can't talk today, guys. But so I just wanted to mention that we're doing that work here in Kentucky. We also have a convention coming up of our own on June 12th and 13th. So you all can look out for more information on that. But yeah, just excited to be here, and thank you all for being so supportive and welcoming.
Thank you, Stefan. Stefan. My bad for messing it up. I apologize. Charles of WY, you're recognized.
I am just here to talk a little bit about the election we just had in Wisconsin last week on Tuesday, because the elections never end in this state. So we had Young Democrats run for office from Ashland, which is the very, very far north part of the state, to Kenosha, and they all won. It was pretty amazing. Every single one of our endorsed candidates was able to. And we also were able to put a progressive, young at heart Democrat in the office of State Superintendent of Public Instruction. So it was a great Tuesday, and I'd just like to thank everyone from the National Committee who has been there as a friend of Wisconsin over the years.
I'm assuming you're done. Scott from MI, you're recognized.
Hey, everyone. First of all, I want to thank Quentin Wathum-Ocama for helping us in Michigan run our Youth Caucus Convention. Those of you who were at the 2019 Indianapolis Convention, I can tell you that the groups in Michigan are together now, and we are very happy to have representatives from both of those groups in our national committee representation now, and I'm very happy to see that. And if you haven't met Ethan Petzold, our new chair, you're in for a treat when you meet him. He's an awesome guy. But of course, elections are also happening here in Michigan, including in my hometown of Kentwood. That's where I have decided to step up and run for city commission. I would be the youngest city commissioner by about 15 years if I'm elected, and I would be the first openly LGBTQ+ city commissioner here in Kentwood. So we obviously need a much better balance And I'm a union member too, National Writers Union. So we need a much better balance on the city commission. So if you'd like to help elect a young Democrat who's been very active at all levels of the party, I'm going to drop my Act Blue link in the chat in just a moment. And otherwise, I look forward to seeing you, maybe in person, maybe virtually, maybe in person in Cincinnati, or maybe virtually, but I will see you all soon.
I'm going to assume that you're done. Devin of CA, you're recognized.
Yes, thank you again, Mr. President. I wanted to rise on a number of points. First and foremost, young Democrats, I wanted to thank you all for your incredible brilliance and inspiration this weekend. This is my second YDA National Committee meeting representing California. And I have just been amazed at just how much work each and every one of you are doing. And I'm just thinking, yes, the board, but I'm honestly thinking about folks who are on committees and within caucus spaces and just in virtual conversations. It's just really, for me, both as a young Democrat, as a young elected official, but honestly, as a human being, it is so great in this moment and inspiring to feel our love and presence even virtually. So I wanted to rise to say that. Number two, I rise to also, as I acknowledged Diane Lay coming in, hopefully as our CYD president, I also wanted to acknowledge, I'd say, quote, retirement, unquote retirement, but he's actually still going to be very involved in Young Democrats of America. Our current president, Will Rodriguez Kennedy, who is now stepping down as president, but still serves as our judicial council for Young Democrats of America. And I hope that our DNC members will also be working with him, because he also serves as a DNC member now representing the state of California. So that being said, I just wanted to congratulate him on both all of the things he's recently done, but also commend him on his service. And I hope you all, if you do know Will, you all will reach out to him and say the same. Last but not least, I wanted to recognize the Georgia Peach herself and our Women's Caucus Chair, Becky Beaver, as well as the Women's Caucus Board for yesterday's conversation. I was so moved by what is a topic that should be a topic for all of us. And that's menstrual equity. And I'm really not speaking right now to those who identify as women and femme beings. I'm actually speaking to the men, both on the national committee and those who are watching either on YouTube or wherever this is streamed. We have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of work to do. And that work starts with showing up. We actually can't pass equitable policy around reproductive justice. We actually can't fight patriarchy. We actually cannot make progress if we do not show up. And so it's upon us to take that responsibility. And when I say us, I'm including myself in that, certainly, to show up, to ask how to show up more. And even when we show up, to listen to the point where we have to still make space to ask questions outside the space itself. And so my challenge to myself today, after yesterday's conversation, is just to be a better ally in all ways we can, because we truly do hold the power, man. We hold the power in this country and certainly in the globe, and it's our responsibility to really step up and to show up. And so I just wanted to thank the Women's Caucus Chair and the Women's Caucus for their leadership. I thought that was an incredible program and something that I think all Democratic spaces need to discuss and be both vulnerable enough but open enough to have a discussion around. And again, my last thing I wanted to say was I am vaccinated. I hope you are too. And I'm looking forward to seeing everyone at convention this year. Thank you so much, Young Democrats, for all you do, and looking forward to more and the progress we make together.
Thank you so much, Devin, for those really powerful words. And also shout out to the women leadership for all of their hard work that they've been doing. Ariel from IN, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Hey, everybody. Just wanted to take a moment to Congratulate Sam Bowman on becoming the LGBTQ caucus chair, and give a shout out to my vice president, James Well, who was the former chair, for his service that he gave to the organization. I am honored that he is the vice president here in Indiana, but that he passed the torch on to someone like Sam, who is more than capable of leading the caucus. So I'm excited for her leadership and to have James. Also, our state, we don't have elections going on right now, but we did focus on state reorganization. We just got a new state party chair, who is Mike Schmuel, the former Pete for America campaign manager, who was all about advocating and utilizing youth voices in our state. So we're excited to have a state party chair that is going to actually be leaning on IYD, their services, their talent, and being able to hopefully staff up state party with some of these roles with some of my folks from IYD. So we're excited about that. We also ran a lot of young people in county party leadership, and we were very successful in some of our races. So we now have some young Dems that are now county party chairs, vice chairs, secretaries, and treasurers throughout our state. So we're very excited about being able to restructure our party as a whole in Indiana with some really young leadership. Also, on top of that, because we don't have elections going on, we have spent a lot of time lobbying at the state house. We have a supermajority of the GOP here in Indiana. So I have been utilizing our young Dems to make sure that they are trained and ready to go when they show up to lobby on issues that are important to them. And so we have done a lot of that this cycle already. Our convention is going to be happening this summer. We are set for June to have our convention. Cross our fingers for in person. So if y'all would like to come back to Indiana and hang out with us, we would definitely welcome you guys to come to our convention this year. We're doing it in an off year, so we are not in competition with our state party convention. Aside from that, a group of young Dems got together over this past election cycle, and we formed a C3 organization that is called With Hope We Win. And I am a proud co-founder of this organization that is centered around voter registration and year-round organizing in the state of Indiana. And so we will be hard at work with young people all across our state, being very intentional about registering voters and organizing all year round from here on out. And so would love your guys' support on that. If you're my friend on Facebook, I have posted about our organization and the work that we're doing, but we are a state, unfortunately, that has some of the most strict voting access laws. And so I, alongside some young Dems and some other community leaders, decided that we were going to do something about it. And we will be registering, educating, and empowering young people, Black people, and brown people in our state, and those who do not identify with the party, on how they can make sure that their voices are heard. So would love y'all to help support us. Like I said, it's called With Hope We Win. And that's all I have for my report. Thank you, Mr. President, for the time today. And I love all y'all. Can't wait to see you at convention.
Thank you, Madam President. If all hearts and minds are clear, I will entertain a motion to adjourn at this point in time. Jovan, on what point do you rise?
Mr. President, it's New York's honor to motion to close this meeting.
It has been properly moved. Is there a second?
Second from Texas. There we go.
We'll take that second from you, Andrew. I'll accept that by unanimous consent if there is no objection. Thank you all for your hard work and dedication you've committed today. YDA is a better organization because of your involvement. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Adios.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye, all. Thank you.
Peace.
Bye, everyone.
Have a good one, all.
Thank you, everyone.
Can you stop this?